As I look around at all of my plants, I see now that I may have a plant problem. Most of them are on this table, but there's still some over here you can't see. And there's some down here you can't see. And there's some back there that you can't see. What is up, everyone? I am really excited about today's video. I have gathered all of my houseplants up and I'm gonna be doing a little houseplant tour for you guys. I also put this story up on my Instagram so you guys could send me questions, and I'm gonna do a Q&A as I show y'all my houseplants. So let's get started, yay! A little backstory about me and plants. I think it all started when, and I don't know how this happened, but for some reason on Instagram, I was following the hashtag Houseplant Club. And to this day, I don't ever remember following it. I don't know why I would have followed that hashtag. It just wasn't a thing I would ever have looked up. But I started following hashtag Houseplant Club, and it was like every 5 pictures on my feed would be a featured picture. And I started seeing all these places with this beautiful greenery, and I'm like, I want a plant. Like, I just wanted one, but I just want a houseplant. It looks dope. And so I got my first plant, which was my Peperomia clustifolia. I bought it for myself for my birthday from Walmart, and for a while it was the only plant that's a lie. That's not true at all. It was the only plant I had for 3 days. I stopped buying a lot of plants over the winter because I wanted them to make it, and I didn't want to take them into my apartment where I know I have little light. That is a bit about me and houseplants. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Also hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I upload a new video. There will be a new video on Friday showing how I DIY my plant shelves, and they're gonna be movable plant shelves so they can go from my patio to my living room when it gets cold or super rainy or stormy or something that'll damage the plants. That'll make me really sad, don't want that. And it'll have a spot for hanging plants, so that's super cool. I went and counted them before I started recording, and I really thought I had 30 plants. I have 56, so I guess that's not a ton compared to some, but that is a ton for the space I have them in. Like, I don't know how I put 56 plants in my apartment, but some of them are about to go outside, so I'm very excited about that. I need them to thrive. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the plants, sprinkle in some questions as I do that. I'm looking at all of them and I'm trying to figure out how I've kept them alive. Like, looking at how many plants I have. I see why they all didn't live. I see why they look the way they do, but like, this be a lot for one me. Well, the first question is, what are the best plants for no light rooms? So a lot of the plants in my apartment are low light plants because I have a window that faces north, and there's no direct sunlight that comes into my apartment ever. So because I'm on the first floor, the building is tall enough that the shade line is just past where my windows are. So there's no sun that comes into my apartment. So I try to stick to low light plants just so they have a better shot at surviving. But these guys will literally live anywhere. So the 2 big ones I have in my bathroom one in my bathroom, one in my bedroom, and I rotate them every few months just because there's no sunlight. They get no light, they get pretty much no water, and there's so many new stems. Even in the poor conditions I have kept it in, the green stems are all new. And there's a little new shoot. The fact that this is thriving, if you want something that is hard to kill, don't overwater it. They just live. They just live, and that's what we want. Another plant that is good for low light rooms would be the snake plant. So I have 5 snake plants, and I will start with the biggest. This guy used to be 3 different stems coming out of this pot, but I overwatered it. 2 of them got root rot, so we're left with 1. But it does thrive in very low light. The second one, I just bought this one. What I want to do is I wanted to propagate some of the leaves so I can put it into the big pot because I want to have a huge one, but I don't want to pay for a huge one. What kind of snake plants these are. If you do know, please let me know down below because I need to learn the names of my kids, my children. My third snake plant, another one I don't know the exact name of, but it's small. This is a bird's nest Sansevieria. And this, my sweet pride and joy, is a Sansevieria moonshine. I don't know why I wanted it so bad. I just loved the way it looked, and I looked for a while. I checked Facebook and I found this. I don't even know where I got this guy from, but I wanted it and I got it. All right, so the next question is, what are my favorite types of houseplant? I think this changes for me. So right now, my favorite type of houseplant are my rubber trees, these sweet little ficuses. This is a variegated one. This is it a rubber tree raven? It's black. I want a green one too, but I love the way they look. I love their leaves. I'm not a big flower person, and I think that's like the houseplant trend right now, is to love foliage, which I do. I don't know, flowers, the leaves last longer than flowers, and that's what I like. So I think they are super easy to maintain, and I'm telling you all, if I can keep these plants alive, I'm pretty sure anyone can. Now, the follow-up question to that is, what is my favorite plant? And my favorite plant is probably going to be this one, which there's a story behind this because I got this specific plant yesterday, but I had one just like it. It's a pink nerve plant, so the veins are pink, and I went out of town and it didn't get watered and it didn't make it, but it grows really fast for me and it was thriving. So I also got this one. What I love about these plants is I call them sassy. They're very sassy, and they tell you what they want and they tell you when they want it. And I will come home and like, if it looked like this in the morning and all of a sudden it just wants water midday, it flattens out to like level with the top of the pot. It just looks like it's dying, and you put water in it and then 20 minutes later, it's just back to normal. It's like, sorry, overreacted. And as someone who has a flair for the dramatics, I just relate to her. She'll just let you know. She'll straight up be like, I am thirsty and you waited 20 minutes too long, so here we go, we're dying, goodbye. And since we talked about my favorite houseplants, we can now go to the houseplants that make me want to pull my hair out. And I think that's just because of where I live, and they're just not thriving. So it is my calatheas, and they want high humidity. They want, obviously, me to pay attention more to watering them. I always have one big leaf, and then as another leaf gets big, whenever it just gets crispy, I don't know. But this is one of my calatheas. I did lose a calathea white fusion. It was a really hard death for us all. Yeah, she didn't like it. She didn't like living. Not it. This is new, and it's doing okay. And it's not a calathea, but I forgot the name, but they look the same, and if they act the same, we're gonna have problems. I kind of just want to give them to someone to like let them live a better life, but they're here now. So someone asked, what is the first houseplant I ever bought? And that would be this guy right here. It's been through a lot. So I got my first houseplant early August of 2019. So mind you, I've done all of this in less than a year. Less than a year, I've collected 56, or I currently have 56 plants that are alive. I've probably lost like 8. Yeah. This is my Peperomia clustifolia. And I got it because the leaves are thick and they are pink, and I just loved them dearly. And it's been through a lot. So when I got it, it was thriving. Then I think I left for vacation. It didn't get watered, and then it wasn't thriving. It's coming back, and that's what we like to see. I have one more Peperomia. I'm pretty sure this is a Peperomia. This is another one I just got not too long ago, but it's got the same thick leaves. I like the thick leaves because it means that it can resist drought a bit better than the thin leaf plants because they hold moisture in their leaves. So for some reason, I don't water it, as I tend to not do. It won't immediately crisp up and blow away in the winds of my sadness. So big bonus. Another question I got is, why do so many cute flower pots come without drainage holes, and what's one way to still use them without getting root rot? So root rot is what happens when the roots of your plants sit in water for too long. It's a prime environment for bacteria growth, which kills your roots. And the danger with that is you don't notice it's killing your roots until you see it on the top of the plant, and then sometimes it's too late. Take the flower out of the pot, look at the roots, remove the diseased roots, change the soil. It's a hard beast to conquer. And so I wanted to use these as an example. Most of my plants I have left in their nursery pot, which is the plastic pot that they come in from the nursery. And oh my goodness, look, a root. Hey guy. Anyway, so I leave a lot of my plants in their nursery pot, and I know some people say you want to get it out, but if it's been living for years in this home, I don't want to bring it to my home and then rip it out of its own home. That would be so sad. So it doesn't fit perfectly, but you can also cut a slit down the tops of these. That way it can collapse on itself and then it would fit better in here. Me and this guy have had a lot. I had a full pink one once. It had aphids, which is a bug. Died sad, swift, but sad. Now I've got this one, and this one is sitting in, oh my goodness, a pot I got from the thrift store. So this is just a cement pot, super cute, fits right in. Beautiful. Let's move on to my vining plants. Another question I got is, what do yellowing leaves mean? Unfortunately, I read this question after I went through and pruned all my plants, so I didn't look like the worst plant mother on this video. This is a pothos, just a regular pothos plant. Super easy to care for, by the way. My pothos in the beginning would get these yellow leaves, and I really did not know why. And yellow leaves in plants is a sign of moisture stress. So typically they either have too much water or too little water. And I'm sure you can guess what the problem was with me. You're right, it had too little water. So I started watering a bit more. I would pay attention to the soil. I just use my finger and I stick it in the dirt to see how dry it is. But if you see yellow leaves and then you feel the soil of your plant and it is wet, then you're probably giving it a bit too much water. Let it dry out a bit more before the next time you water it. And then this is a marble queen pothos. I got the regular pothos first, but I just love these leaves. They're just so pretty. You're doing great, by the way. I'm pretty sure plants respond to positive reinforcement. Not a scientist, but I think that's definitely a fact. This is I forgot what this is called, but it was very small when I got it. We are working on getting some more leaves, but all right, moving along the string of vining pothos. This is the silver satin. It's satin something and it's silver something, and I'm pretty sure it's silver satin, but the leaves, if you can't tell, are like satiny when you feel them. And these just do well in most any kinds of lights. This one is a philodendron Brazil, I believe. So it's got these really neon leaves. I thought it was a neon pothos at first when I bought it. And then I was like, no, this is just not that. But it has these really pretty neon leaves. So this is a Monstera adansonii. And the story behind this one was I got clippings off Facebook. It was in a little glass bottle and it had 2 leaves on it. And I was starting my first day at a new job that I have. And I remember I picked it up on the way and I was like, can I leave this in the car while I work or will be fine? She was like, it'll probably get too hot and it won't make it, because this was last summer. And so I showed up to my job on the first day with this bottle of water with leaves in it, and I was like, can I put this in the back? I can't sit it in my car because it'll die, and I just paid for this. And so that is how I became known as the plant girl at that job. It got a lot of roots and I put it in here, and now we've got all of this lusciousness. So this guy I just repotted. I should have put it in a bigger pot, but it's been through a lot and it actually, like, half of it died. So I know a lot of those roots were not relevant, and that's why I wanted to put it in the same size pot, let the roots redevelop from the living ones. But you can even tell it's thinner up here because as it dries, these are like dried leaves. It'll dry and fall from the top. But then as we get to the bottom, you can see when I figured out how to take care of this plant, and it started coming back. And so this is a string of bananas. I also have a string of, so this is a string of tears. So I used to have one, whole thing died, and I got this one to replace it because I learned how to take care of string of plants. So I've got my string of bananas and my string of tears. At home, I have a string of hearts at my mom's house. I don't know the name for it, but it is a variegated Hoya. Some of the leaves are light green, dark green. Some of them are pink, which is why I bought it. But it can be a hanging plant. As you can see, it vines. You can also see where it didn't do too well on one side. So we're gonna work on that, baby steps. But this is a variegated Hoya. This is another variegated Hoya. You can kind of tell it's variegated. I think this is a Hoya. I'm pretty sure it's a Hoya Hindu rope, but it comes out as this cute little rope. It used to be much bigger, but these are all the ones that really didn't make it. Every one of those. Someone did ask, what is what is the best low maintenance plant for a beginner grower. And I would say the ZZ plant, but another one would be a pothos. Those pothos are pretty resilient and they will grow and give you nice vines. You can cut them, propagate them, have even more plants. So that's a really nice one for beginners. The next question is, what is the best temperature to water your plants at? And I always try to use room temperature water. So I'll either fill up my watering can and it'll just be sitting in my apartment. So I know it's room temperature, but if you use hot or cold water, then you risk shocking the roots because they're in their little environment and they really just don't like that dramatic change in temperature. But in other news, this is a aglaonema is how I've been pronouncing it. And this one's flowering. This one is new from the store. This one, so I had this one in a smaller pot when I got it and it was thriving. And you know what? I see now that the soil is wet and I think it has root rot, but it has been dying slowly. The leaves just aren't happening. I might repot it again or just let it take its course. So sad. All right, so the next question is, do houseplants need natural sunlight? And if so, when do I sit them outside and for how long? So in the year that I've had these, I haven't had them outside except for a couple of days when I went back home. So I really have never put them outside, and the ones that are here are doing fine. They do need natural light, like from a window. It can still be filtered diffused light, which means it's not direct sun rays. That is enough to keep a lot of houseplants alive. One example of like high light plants that I have that are still kicking are my little succulents. So I've got 3. These 2 I think are from IKEA. And then this little guy was from the grocery store and he's so cute. And I just gave him a little water, but these like high light and I have them just right by the window and they're doing fine. But not all of my plants are right by windows. Some of them are a couple feet back or on the other side of the room, but yeah, the houseplants don't have to be outside. So the next question is, are there any outside flowers I can plant right now? And I actually took a trip down to the plant store to double check to make sure they had some. But there are zinnias, which are little flowers. They come in like little square containers. And they're like $1 or $2 a piece for the one stem. And then vincas, I'll attach a video. But those 2 flowers, you can take them and put them into one pot. So just buy a bunch of different flowers, some potting mix, and then put them into one pot. And as long as they get a couple hours of sun a day, they should survive like on a patio. So they are great container plants. Speaking of container plants, I don't know at all the names of these plants, but these are the ones I have on my patio. So these are vining plants. I might just cut them because I don't care for the vines. But I have got 2 of this one right here, 2 of the red ones, and then 2 of the green ones. So someone else asked, how often do I water my plants? And I try at least on Sundays to go around and feel all of my plants and see how the soil is doing. Most of them don't need to be watered every 7 days. Some of them, I guess the answer would be once a week, but there are some that like if they're looking a little thirsty or I know I didn't water the Sunday before, I'll go around the middle of the week and do it. Because if I go around on Sunday and the plant's not dry, then I'm not gonna give it water. And then there are some plants like this one, I genuinely don't know the last time I watered this plant. I have no idea. And I've been gone for over a week. So I'd say about once a week. All right, so the last question, although I still have some more plants to show you. The last question is, what's the most important thing about maintaining your plants? Is really just listening to them. A lot of the times they'll tell you what they need or what they're not getting enough of. Like if the leaves are turning yellow, then they either have too much water or too little water. If the leaves start dropping, they probably need more sun. If the leaves are getting sunspots and they're getting too much direct sunlight and they need to be moved away from straight sun rays. But yeah, a lot of the times it's just watching it over a period of time, seeing how it acts. In the beginning, when you first bring a plant home, it will have to acclimate and it may drop some leaves. But if you keep watching it, you'll see if it's consistently declining where you're like, okay, I need to do something. It's not gonna thrive here. But that's the most important part about taking care of your houseplants. I have a few more left to show y'all. The first is my tricolor. I don't know. But this plant I think is so pretty. So I really like pink plants and the undersides of these leaves are pink. However, this plant loves humidity and water. And it looks like this because it's been outside for the past week. And the brown tips are because it was here before that. But I think I'm moving a lot of these plants to a shelf I build to put outside. So watch Friday's videos for some plant DIYs. That way you can display some of your houseplants. The rest of these are all new additions. The first new addition is my Pilea money plant. I heard these are really easy to take care of, and I love the way their little leaves look. They're so cute. I bought this and it didn't have a little name thing, and I don't know what it is. This plant, this is a fiddle leaf fig, my little fig plant. I got a short one because these are notoriously finicky as plants, and if they don't like where they're at, they will just die. Even if they like where they're at, they might just die. They like high sun, but not any direct sunlight. And they like to be dried out before they like to get watered. And so this is gonna be outside for the summer. Then I'll bring it inside and we'll see what happens over the winter. If it'll just live for me, that would be great. And I may do another plant haul next year, but I might have to take y'all around the apartment instead of bring them all here, because this is a lot of plants I'm gonna have to return to their homes soon. So yep, that's that. The last plants oh wait, no, that's a lie. I just got this one. It's a fern. I always said I didn't like ferns, but I liked the way these leaves looked, and I said I would give this fern a shot. So this is my new little fern plant. Say hi. All right, so the last collection of plants I have are my herbs. I wanted to have a little herb garden, fresh herbs for my recipes. So here is what I got. Starts with spearmint. So I don't actually know what I'm gonna use all these for, but I have spearmint, sad looking cilantro plant because guac is life. No one can tell me different. Garden sage. This one be Italian parsley. And this one is oregano. Last but not least, I've got basil and I've got rosemary. And oh my goodness, I forgot about my newest love. Let me grab her. This sweet, sweet giant is my Monstera deliciosa. I think it means delicious monster. And boy, ain't she. Just look at her. Just look at her. She's so pretty. I'm gonna never do that again. I got that at the flea market and First Monday, and I saw it and it was $20, and I said, this needs to become mine. All right, this is my sweet, sweet jungle, and that's all I got. 56 sweet plant children of mine, and these are the ones that liked me the most and decided not to just shrivel up and peace out. But yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. There will be a new video on Friday showing how I DIY my plant shelves, and they're gonna be movable plant shelves so they can go from my patio to my living room when it gets cold or super rainy or stormy or something that'll damage the plants. That'll make me really sad. Don't want that. And you'll have a spot for hanging plants, so that's super cool. I'm also gonna try to do a propagation wall so I can propagate some of these plants before. I guess I just want to get a jump start on having new plants before they decide to all die on me. A stress on 10 up there. So that is it. Yeah, my name is Rachel. Thanks for watching. Bye.